Welcome to a Drop Tent Media production.
The Porcupine with Adam Nutter.
Yo, what's up? Hey, Porcupine, Adam Nutter. Hey, thanks for coming out. So real quick, again, everybody who came out to New Hampshire, that was an awesome time. Thank you so much. Definitely got to come back again next year for sure. New Hampshire was a fucking shit. It was so much fucking fun. So coming out to New Hampshire next year when I come back, I'll bring Neil back and Blaze, Drew, and everybody who came out. So thank you for all the comics and everybody came out. It was a super good time. And yeah, guns. There's no rules up there. If it wasn't so cold all the time, I feel like there, I would make a case and move there. But just so fucking cold, make that somewhere else happen, like Hawaii. Make New Hampshire Hawaii, and then I'm there all day. But until then, I'm out. Guys, just follow me at Adam Nutter on social media, at Adam Nutter on Twitter, on all that shit. Come see me do stand-up. May 13th, I'll be in Jersey at Rexy's over right by Philly in West Hollingswood Town or Heights. It's a dumb fucking name. It's right over the bridge in Philly. Rexy's. It's a free show, so come to that. And then the next day, May 14th, I'll be back at the Pop-In in Chalfont, right outside of Philly. One show, 8 p.m. Tickets for that, droptent.com/events. And then Memorial Day weekend, I won't be in Reno. Sorry. I know. I'm getting yelled at 100 times. I'd rather be in Reno, but I already had fucking shows that weekend booked, okay? So I'll be in Pennsylvania and Bethlehem, not Reno, May 28th, at the FOE Theater, I think. I think it's what it's called. So again, tickets, droptent.com/events for that. And go buy a shirt. Droptent.com/store. Go get your Porcupine shirt, please, and thank you. And I'm very lazy. I don't feel like pulling it up, but I will. All right, here, Porcupine. Go get it. Where is it? Bam. Your black series, your white series, and your Just Be a Local Nutter shirt. Buy Top Lobster. Droptent.com/store. Okay, enough of me. Guys, my guest for today, he's young. He's smarter than me already. That's a bummer. Give it up for the young bull himself, the host of the Road to Providence podcast, David Brady. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right, Adam. How are you doing?
I can't multitask anymore. I think I'm getting older. My brain's failing me. I can't.
Yeah.
Do both podcasts back to back that quick.
Oh, yeah. So I'm sorry. What was that?
I can't do both podcasts back to back that quick anymore. My brain's failing me.
Oof, man. I got a question for you. Does Neil's back hurt from having to carry that comedy podcast?
Wow. I bring you on my show and I get roasted for my comedy. How dare you?
I got to do it at least once. Once for Jacob.
Wow. That's unbelievable. Everybody unsubscribe to this kid's podcast. How dare you?
I don't blame you if you do.
No, he's smarter than all of us. Yeah, I agree, Shannon. He is. I know, it's a bummer. So, Dave, let me ask you this. You were 17?
Yeah.
Crazy. When I was 17, I was playing football and sleeping through all my high school classes and barely knew what politics was. That was my goal, was to play in the NFL. Look where I am. So, my question to you is, what the fuck made you be like at 17, and I guess even before 17, be super into liberty and so smart about it and pick the right part of it and about politics and all that stuff?
So I'd say, like, what really got me into it, man, I would say it's probably like Michael Malice. Like, I was somebody who like loosely followed politics as like a young kid. And I don't know. My dad was like, hey, you should check out this Michael Malice guy. He's interesting. And so I watched him on Tim Pool's show, and they were discussing like how the media lies to get us into wars. And I'm like, hey, that's kind of like how they tried to frame Trump for treason, right? God, that felt like an alliteration there. But sorry, the background.
You're good.
But I don't know, Michael Malice kind of made me look at everything and be like, oh, hey, anarchy's not like what everyone claims it's going to be. It's like maximum freedom. I don't totally agree with it, but like, yeah. And then slowly I saw that my dad watched Part of the Problem, because my dad's like a paleo con, like a Pat Buchananite, which makes him better than most of those paleo cons, you know? And he watched Part of the Problem occasionally, and I was like, dang, this Dave Smith guy's right about everything. And he has Michael Malice on occasionally. And so I started listening to Part of the Problem. That kind of delved me down the libertarian train.
I might be the only person who knew Dave as a comic before Liberty stuff. Like everyone I talked to in the Liberty Circle is like, I found out that it was a comic like years after the fact or whatever. I knew it was I'm a comic, so I knew it was a comic beforehand. So it's funny when I just constantly hear like, yeah, and then Dave, I'm part of the problem. Like I know Dave from Legion of Skanks. What are you talking about? Like, but it's so your dad kind of got you into politics?
A little bit, yeah. I wouldn't like totally voice that onto him. It was like I was a kid. I paid attention to the news. I liked sitting downstairs at night and watching the news. I was like, oh, I don't like these people at all. I just sat downstairs watching the news. I don't know why. Just weird kid. I don't know. I was like the kid who would just sit downstairs and just like draw for hours on end as a kid. And so I guess that translates to me being able to sit downstairs and watch news all the time.
Possibly. You could sit there and pay attention and not lose focus, which is again, kudos. I have a hard time doing that. Jesus Christ, what was I gonna fucking say? Oh, so you all right, so you don't really say your dad didn't get you into politics. Again, when I was 17, I just try to equate myself like you to me. I just always, anytime I talk to anybody, I always try to put myself in their shoes, right? So you're the perfect example because you were, oh my God, you weren't even born during 9/11.
No, 4 years after 9/11.
That's like history for you.
Listen, George W. Bush was
Whoa.
inaugurated for the second time on my birthday, on the day I was born.
Fuck me. Bro, I was a sophomore in high school during 9/11. That's crazy. Oh, I'm getting old. I'm dying. All right. So when I was 17, again, I just focused on football. Like I didn't give a shit about. And now, granted, the internet was around obviously when I was 17, but it wasn't like it is now, right? Like you have literally at your fingertips, Twitter, all this shit. I would have had to do like real research to try to find some shit out. So you do have a step above, but like. Even if I was into politics at 17, I'm thinking again myself where I was at that time. I was playing football. I was already a nerd because I like comic books. I already wasn't like a cool jock, even though I played football.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would fucking be also like tell these other guys like, hey, have you guys heard about like Ron Paul? They'd be like, no, you fucking loser. Like, do you talk to your high school classmates about this shit? You try to convert them to liberty, or you just like, nah, or are you the weird kid? Are you the weird kid who talks about politics?
Yeah, I'm the weird kid who talks about politics, and I like it way too much, man. Like last year for my English class, we were reading The Great Gatsby. You know, it's like the 1920s, just before the Depression. Yeah, it's a really good book. I enjoyed it. But I was talking about like, oh, they don't know what's coming. This is all just a boom before the bust. I was talking about the Federal Reserve. I single-handedly got that phrase banned in my English class. I was not allowed to talk about the Federal Reserve because of my English class. So I'll be talking about this in my math class. We'll do our lesson for like, I don't know, 25 minutes. And then he'll be like, go ahead, work on your homework or whatever. And I'll be talking to my friend about like economics. I'll be talking about like, oh, the housing market is a bubble and stuff, and like inflation and interest rates and the Federal Reserve. And my teachers look at me like a lunatic. And my teacher's like, hey, David, since you know about economics, what financial what should I invest in?
Crypto. You just tell him crypto? Just tell him Bitcoin.
I told him that I am not a financial expert, but that hedging against inflation never hurts.
How many books on economics have you read?
Okay, so I've read Bob Murphy's Understanding Money Mechanics, Economics in One Lesson, What Has Government Done to Our Money? That's all I've read.
But dude, you don't understand. Like, I can't get adults to read Economics in One Lesson. I'm actually re-listening to it right now just because I'm not. I physically cannot sit down and read a book anymore. I can't do it. I need to do something. I can't. I need to. I'll go to my phone or I'll be watching. I need. So I'm big on audiobooks now. So I'm re-listening to just that, and the fact that you read Bob Murphy's not like a cool guy.
Like, I like Bob Murphy.
No. Shut up. That's not what I mean. This is what I'm saying. Like you're like a robot. A 17-year-old should be like, I read Bob Murphy. I'm glad you did. Like this is. Like, I'm happy you are because like it's important that. We need the youth and you and your generation to be like, no, you guys are fucking stupid. Like my fellow generation is stupid with money. My fellow generation is stupid with public discourse stuff. That's great. But it just blows my mind that some 17-year-old like, Bob Murphy's actually pretty cool. Hey, no, he's not. And I'm an adult. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a nice guy.
Okay,
He's
but
not fucking cool.
okay,
You're reading
Understanding Money Mechanics is not a hard book to read. It's not like written down like Man Economy or State or like Human Action. It's not a super dense book. It's pretty simple to go through. Like if you
Fair.
understand new terms like yields and
Fair.
like stuff like even I don't understand. I still have to understand the bond market and learn about that. But it's not a super dense book, so it's pretty simple. And I thought it was very useful for understanding how
I've
the
only
Fed grew
heard
economy.
honestly snippets of that book. I never fucking read them, but I mean, I want to listen to Soul's fucking book,
Basic economics, yeah.
yeah, because that's I think important. But like, what else are you reading? Like, what else are you reading that any other 17-year-old in the world isn't? So, what else are you reading right now? I want to know your list.
Well, I'm currently getting a
Facts. Your camera lens is mad far right. Funny
Yeah, I
joke
don't know.
by Chris. David Cameron's lens is further right than Curtis Yarvin.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of just leaning here. It's just pointing a little bit over that way because I'm right up against a wall here. So that's the problem here. Because I'm on literally I record on a little nightstand. Like right now I got a little nightstand. I got a lamp that's giving me a little extra light and my camera's right there. So it's at a little bit of an angle and I can only scoot my chair so close to the wall. So that way I'm centered. So yeah. And if it's kind of like tilting a little bit, that's because it's on a tripod and I'm trying my best, guys. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, Chris, you fucking
Yeah.
bitch.
Come on, man.
Okay.
I don't know. Chris is awesome. He's
Chris
great.
is cool. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I'm currently compiling like a list of economics books that I'm just gonna delve into this summer. Like this summer, I'm working over in the woods somewhere in Wisconsin. I'm
Doing?
gonna be,
That was very vague. Doing what in the woods?
I'm working at summer camp. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be spending the mornings, like just before we start everything, I'm gonna exercise every morning, and then while I'm working, because I'm gonna be working at like their little trading post thing, I'm gonna be reading in between customers and selling kids sugar, taking their parents' credit card money. I'll be reading the entire time and exercising and trying to improve myself during the summer. So I'm creating a list of economic books that I'm trying to get. I got Bob Murphy's Choice, which is like a condensed version of Human Action. I've gotten God, right on that bookshelf there, I got Murray Rothbard's The Progressive Era. I got Saifedean Amos's The Fiat Standard. I need to get the Bitcoin Standard. I've just got two Peter Schiff books today in the mail, How an Economy Grows and Why It Crashes, and Crash Proof, How to Survive the Next Financial Collapse. But like right now that I'm like trying to actively read, I'm trying to read Pat Buchanan's book, I think it's Where the Right Went Wrong.
Oh, didn't it just come out not too long ago?
No, I don't think so. It's an older book.
What one did he just write not too long ago that this came out that people were talking about?
I'm not sure. Okay, it was in 2005.
Oh, that might be it then,
2005
actually.
was
That actually might be what I'm referring to, actually. That sounds right. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like how the neoconservatives subverted the Reagan Revolution and hijacked the Bush presidency.
I realized why we just had a miscommunication there. I'm old. In 2005 to me.
That was when I was born, Adam.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So 2005 to me is like, no, I was like, not recently. And you're like, I was literally born. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. You got it.
I'm literally only a few months older than that book is. But yeah. But I'm trying to read that, and then I also want to read The Omnivore's Dilemma, which is about like food stuff and how food's been screwed up. And then I also want to pick up and read, because I got Jordan Peterson's books like ages ago, but I never properly delved into them. So I got to read 12 Rules for Life and Beyond to Order 12 More Rules for Life, that sort of thing.
I've listened to enough Jordan Peterson where I'm good. I don't need the book. I'm not going to read the book. There's no fucking way I'm listening to the book. I'm good. I think I got it. Like I know he's great. Like I'm just saying, I think I got out what I need out of the hours of podcast to listen to him speak. I don't think I'm gonna get anything new. I don't know. Like out of the book.
I went through a Jordan Peterson phase where I would just whenever I'd mow my lawn like every other day for like 2 hours, I would just be listening to Jordan Peterson lecture on like postmodernism or like cultural Marxism or something, or like how to improve your life, or like lobster dopamine stuff. I was listening to that stuff just for hours and hours. And like that man is wonderful. God bless him. That is great. Like if I had one person I could interview on my podcast, like it would be Jordan Peterson. Like God bless that man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would like to definitely, who wouldn't like to have some words with him? It sounded negative. You know what I meant? Like have a conversation. I don't want to fuck him up. I can definitely fuck Red Peace, and he looks easy to take. He looks tall and frail. Definitely fight him.
Leave that poor man alone.
No, kid, I love Jordan Peterson. I feel like you're so far ahead of the curve of your age. Do you even care about sports at all? You fuck around with sports at all?
Listen, if sports, if like the NFL hadn't gone like super leaning into like the woke stuff, I would still be watching like the NFL Network. Like I enjoyed watching football. Like I genuinely enjoyed it.
So
Me and my brother would sit downstairs and watch the NFL draft and these old NFL documentaries. Like I enjoyed watching football. But like ever since the like, Black Lives Matter stuff started stepping in, I just didn't care.
no, it's
really
woke
didn't
trash.
care.
But hear
yeah.
me out. The game though doesn't matter. So during the actual game, all that shit doesn't. It's irrelevant. It's just everything surrounding the physical 60 minutes of the game that sucks.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's kind of going back to just the way it was. Like they have small bullshit things still, like in the end zone, so like and racism or like other just virtue signaling nonsense instead of doing anything. They just put it on a helmet. But it's not like talked about as much of what like they don't show the kneeling if anybody even kneel. I don't even think anybody even kneels anymore. Like I think it's kind of over with that shit. I just care. I love football so much. I never let that stop me from watching it. I just, what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I'm letting evil win almost. like all this woke virtue signaling nonsense. Like, no. I'm still going to watch the sport I love. Like, I can't I'm not going to stop watching football because of the other bullshit. Because that's what the media wants me to focus on. So I never stopped. My dad did the same thing you did, though. My dad was a big football fan and was like, I'm done. I was like, all right, I respect your opinion. Yeah. You can do that. So, all right. So you don't play anything, right? Like you don't
I don't do a lot of extracurriculars. Like I like trap shooting. I don't know if that's considered a sport. I like shooting. That sort of thing's sort of my thing. I don't know. The only extracurricular that I really ever did was like speech because I got to just talk about current events.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say shooting is a sport if you're hunting somebody and they have a gun also. Then that's a sport. That's pretty cool.
I would love to do like paintball stuff. I don't know.
Not as dangerous, but that's fine.
Dangerous, yeah.
So where do you have a college in mind?
So I don't know. I'm conflicted on the college issue of whether or not I need to go to one. I can definitely see the benefits of one. There's this college in Michigan called Hillsdale. It's like a private college. You don't take any government money or anything. They're the people who created, like Trump's 1776 curriculum. So they're like a little bit more right wing, but they're not a woke university at all. I got to go visit, and I was sitting there listening to a history professor lecture on like early Christianity for like an hour, and he said specifically the woke people don't know history, and he says this like blatantly out loud. And that it was glorious, and I love the college. They have Ludwig von Mises's collection.
Oh wow!
At the college, they have a whole room dedicated to the guy, and that they also teach Austrian economics and like Murray Rothbard. If you go into economics,
what's the you know how the Mises Institute has like students? Is that a thing?
The Mises U.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I mean, I just see it. I don't obviously ever look into it because I'm 35. But
so
would you try to do that ever?
Oh man, I want to do that next summer because it's like a summer program for like a week where you just go and you get to attend a bunch of seminars after you do some required readings, and you get to learn about economics. And then you get like a little diploma thing. It's kind of like it's called Mises U, of course, but it's for like college students and I guess like advanced high school students. I definitely want to go. I definitely want to go to Mises U next summer. That's one of the goals, along with like Pork Fest, because I got to throw a little meat out there to the Free Staters. I want to go to Pork Fest in 2023. This summer, though, that's not feasible because I got a job that I'm kind of forced to be at the entire summer.
Justin O'Donnell says better than going to libertarian school. We just moved to New Hampshire again. Yeah, be less cold. Just be less cold. I was cold last weekend. Just fucking too good. Oh, you live from Minnesota though, so it's like
yeah.
Who gives a shit? It's probably less or was it equal lateral move for you.
I mean, I think it'd be pretty much the same weather. Maybe a little bit better because something about the sea. I don't know. I've heard the opposite. I've heard Justin say otherwise about like the weather. But like I definitely want to the goal ultimately is to move to New Hampshire. I want to live in New Hampshire. as annoying as you New Hampshireites can be. Because sorry, the Free Staters, they can be really autistic. Not gonna lie.
I haven't been to one libertarian event where that hasn't been the case.
I mean, yeah, but like the Free Staters are like you crank it up a notch, and then you go beyond that one guy who could not understand your joke. At PA.
Yeah. It's the same cold as Philly. You're not leaving the Northeast. Hey, no, it's not the same cold as Philly. If you look at the fucking weather comparatively in January to like here and up there, it's degrees colder for sure. Definitely the more north you go, right? That's how it works.
Man,
The
this is
higher you
about
go,
the
the
mo-
colder it gets.
This is about the most normal conversation I've had. Like if a normal person was having a conversation talking about the weather between Philly and New Hampshire, it's just about the most normal conversation I've had in ages.
This is the argument I keep having with them up there. I go, it's too cold. They go, it's not that cold. They go, no, it is that cold. And they keep going, it's the same cold. They go, no, it's not. So this is more of a long-standing argument I have with all the New Hampshire people. Oh, yeah. Masha was the assistant one last weekend, not me. That's true. Masha was like heckling me. Like pretty much.
Nice.
Like not negatively. She was just talking. Like she
Mhm.
thought like we were having a conversation with her. But that's not how comedy works. We're just doing our comedy. And she was like, oh, yeah, me too. We're like, no,
Was
we got
she
it.
drunk?
That's a word you could say. Some would say obliterated. Some could say drunk. I don't know.
Oh, Lord.
But I told Justin to choke her out in the middle of my set. Because she was fucking being too loud.
Jesus Christ.
So what do you want to do with your fucking life then?
I don't know, man. I want to go into media production and like writing. That's the goal. I want to write about current events and talk about this stuff. I enjoy talking. And so I could see myself like going into broadcasting of some sort, or I could see myself doing a lot of writing. I've had a few articles published so far. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to get my foot in the door for some
What'd you have
stuff.
published and where?
So I've had one article written about New Hampshire winning in freedom stuff and the Foundation of Economic Education and being libertarian. It's like the most recent article, like the only one that's been published in a year, other than that one that got taken off. One on secession and like why it's a historical and very American thing. And then I've had two published at the Libertarian Institute. One is about shoot, what was it about? God, I can't remember. I'm gonna quickly check, but like the most recent one, it hasn't come out yet. But it's gonna be about how the American right is anti-Bush, not anti-war. So that'll be coming out soon. Oh yeah, it's about how to when the bubble pops, will you be ready? It's talking about like how the government inflated a massive bubble economy, and it got published at the Libertarian Institute.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you wanted like what you think? I'm like, well, so when you say write, I know you just said like write article. You mean like even like books, or even try to write? Because hear me out. I feel like there's a market for libertarian / middle leaning to right leaning people for entertainment, right? Like I feel like the people are just over the woke Hollywood bullshit. And you're entertaining. You're young. You kind of get culture. You're entertaining. You could be witty. You get humor, at least. Like you understand humor. You understand the nuances of humor. You ever thought about trying to work your way into trying to writing like at your own show, like comedy show or some sort of sketch or something, but like libertarian leaning or right leaning, whatever you want to say?
I don't know if I've specifically thought about like whether I would do that, but like one of the things I want to do is I want to start like a professional media company, kind of like how the Blaze has something like the Daily Wire, they've got things, but like a libertarian media production thing. So I want to be able to like produce quality shows, bring people on to do shows like that, possibly get into making, content, kind of like, how the Tuttle Twins is making content, the Daily Wire is making movies. I want to do media production. That is what I care about. I want to start like publishing the news, like from a libertarian perspective, and making videos and like quality made shows. That's the goal. I want to do media production and get into that field.
Yeah, that's the route, man. The way everything's going. Like I wish when I was younger, again, like fucking, I wish I like was more tech savvy. Like now, obviously, like you do my thumbnails for me, fucking for Christ's sake. Like you know, what I'm saying? Like because like especially for comedy, like I look at other comics who I wouldn't say anyone necessarily. I don't want to shit on any other comics, but like comics who aren't funny, but they're blowing up on social media because of the way they're good at like cutting clips, right? But
Mhm.
I've seen them do stand up. I'm like, you're not that fucking good. I've seen you bomb in person, like, you know. But I'm seeing their fucking TikToks blow up, their Twitters blow up because they have. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, if I'm funnier than this motherfucker, but I can't cut shit. Like you, that's what I'm saying. You're ahead of the curve. So I think you 100% should fucking do that. What would be your main? You would want to run it,
Yeah.
or just be like a content creator?
I want to be a content creator, and I want to like help run. I want to run the thing. That's the goal. You know, kind of like, you know how Glenn Beck, he's got like, he has his own show and stuff, but then he also runs the Blaze, like kind of like that, but like less neoconservative.
Yeah. Would you like? Would you want to start like a move to New Hampshire and like start not a compound? Was not the right word. Start like.
Yes.
Oh, 'cause I was thinking like compound media. But thinking like a studio in New Hampshire and like
Yeah.
bring people to New Hampshire.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Like that sort of thing would be great. I would love to do it. Like honestly, I could see myself like buying like a large rural part of New Hampshire. And so that way I could like, you know, build a house somewhere, but then there's also like a side road or whatever that goes down to like a good studio. I would
Yeah.
love to do that.
Yeah, man. I think it's also a good step. Like the fact that I don't go to the studio anymore to record because I don't want to drive to Philly in my fucking new car.
Mhm.
Because you know, I don't know if you guys saw the video of Kensington on Twitter recently. Have you seen the video of
Which one?
it was a tweet and it said $33 trillion to Ukraine or whatever the fuck. I forgot what it was, but like look at Kensington. Kensington's a really bad part of Philly. And
Oh, that one. Oh,
the
right.
dude's
Now
just
I know what
slowly
you're
driving down the street and it's just like bombs starting fires in the middle of like the street by the train station.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
so the thing about Kensington is like part of it's being gentrified, but part of it's not. And where the studio is like the getting gentrified part, but it's not far from that part. And I'm like, I'm not taking my brand new fucking car and parking it where like Neil's car has been like broken into multiple times.
Mhm.
He has a really funny story on he told on Cult of Us where he walked outside one day and just was looking down like the street where his car was parked, and he saw like these kids by his car window, and he's like, "Is that my fucking car?" And he's like looking down, and he's walking closer. He's like, "Hey, hey!" And these three kids are like looking at him. They see him and they run. And he's like, "What the fuck were they doing?" And he walks over to his car, and they just had a bucket of sand and were just dumping it in his window.
What? They was pouring sand into his car?
Yeah. They pulled the window down a little bit. They just started dumping sand. Like 10-year-olds, not like teenagers, like kids, like just bored kids just fucking with a random car they found. And he's like, I don't even know where they got sand from. Like, there's no sand around here. He's like, it's Kensington. He's like, where the fuck did they get sand from? So funny. Because if that was my car, I'd be furious. So I'm like, hey, bud, once I got the new car, I was like, we have StreamYard. Like, I'm not coming down anymore. I was like, we're just gonna do it this way.
Yeah.
I'm not getting my car because especially I have a canvas top and shit. I'm not getting my fucking top ripped open with a knife. Fuck out of here. It's crazy. So yeah, fuck the cities, dude.
Yeah.
100%.
Totally agree.
Which is also, I guess, ironic or hypocritical. It's like vote Democrat.
Yes.
It's
Speed
like,
up
okay,
the
but
collapse.
all the cities every major city is like, oh, but if you vote Democrat, if you don't want these rights taken, it's like every city has been voting Democrat for 50 years.
Listen, man, all I'm saying is continue voting Democrat and just speed along the collapse. Like, I'm convinced that's why New Hampshire keeps electing Democrats to the Senate and to the House, just so they can speed up the collapse everywhere else. So that way New Hampshire looks even better.
I agree. Magoose's Brady Davidians has a nice ring to it. Dude, that could be your fucking cult theme. That'd be fucking cool as fuck.
Oh,
yeah, dude, they suck. Like, I know there's like it's like, well, the right sucks too. It's like, yeah, but not the
not
same.
as much. Yeah.
It's not the same. Like, they suck with fiscal stuff. They're liars, right? Like, they didn't help with lockdowns. They're fucking cowards. So yeah, they suck.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not trying to change the culture of America. That's the fucking difference. And to me, that's the bigger evil. like once you're trying to like get to the kids and like take that however you will, but like try to change the mind of the youth and like do fucked up evil. It's like evil shit in my mind, right? It's like that's the worst party then. Sorry.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not retarded, so like all the lies you're gonna tell me about the right aren't gonna work on me. Like like the whole the KKK. What, the 1,000 of them that's left? Like, shut the fuck up. Like they barely exist anymore. It's just the constant lies. They're worse.
Like, listen, when I hear about like they're saying there's a white supremacist problem in America, it's like, what, Nick Fuentes? Like his crowd? Like, seriously, there's no reason to be afraid of them. They're like, what, skinny little soy boys who can barely grow a mustache, who are going like, we're gonna bring back a white ethno state, and they are like killing themselves by being incels.
Yeah, you can't fuck.
They're not gonna survive.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, that's also what's funny about like the left too. It's like, yeah, your kids are also gonna just grow up to not probably produce because you're gonna be so anti-family or so anti-nuclear family that you're gonna instill that value in your fucking dumb kid, and that kid's gonna grow up and just not have a kid, and then you're gonna outbreed yourself, you fucking idiots, or not right? Outbreed or not breed, whatever, extinct yourself.
Yeah,
so fucking awful.
Natural selection, man.
Yeah, no, they're the absolute fucking worst. Speaking of the left, the misinformation board, that's the thing.
Oh God, that woman is ludicrous. Like the one who's supposed to be put in charge of it.
Shit.
Because I decided I was gonna go and scroll through Twitter, see what I could dig up, which other people haven't dug up so far. And so I go searching on Twitter. I'm searching up like keywords. I look up Assad, and she was one of the people that pushed like the Assad gassed his own people thing. That ended up being a lie because it was just people that wanted. It was just Al Qaeda, moderate rebels who wanted our support. It was just them, and we learned that eventually. But she was one of the people pushing the narrative that Assad was gassing his own people. I don't know. I think she was a Russiagator, of course. She did the Hunter Biden's laptop. It's like,
every talking point in existence.
Yeah. I love the reaction to it though, because it just shows you how little respect people have for these institutions and how little they're going to listen to anything they say. Like, you just see this outrage against this lady who's just completely out of it, completely removed from reality, and everyone else can see that as well. And they're completely rejecting it, right? So it's beautiful that people are just rejecting the idea of this thing. And I think it's going to be like the ATF is now. Every single nominee that they put up for the head of the ATF will be criticized and demonized. And like, look at what we did. David Chipman didn't become the head of the ATF. I don't know, it's ATF director or something.
Yeah,
but
I don't know, murderer.
Yeah, we cyberbullied him out of the position. So I think we can do it with the Ministry of Truth.
Especially with Elon buying Twitter.
Oh yeah.
So we definitely have more of a chance to now, for sure, than ever.
Yeah.
No, I think bullying is important because they just do what they want. And when I say they, I mean whoever the fuck's in power. Here's the thing: like, if the right wins the presidency, I will put money on it. They don't disband that board.
Yeah.
They'll just make it their own witch hunt, right?
Yeah.
So that's the evil of. That's why I was talking about this with Jacob Winograd, who sucks, on his podcast last night. We were talking about like it's all the DeSantis versus Disney stuff, whatever, or just and like it's like when they make laws in the things against we like, it's like, okay, cool, because it's fucking the thing we don't like, but it's like it opens the back door for when the other side gets in power. Then they just use the same shit against, like the Texas abortion bill before the whole other abortion thing came up. When they were like, oh, we're banning abortion. And then California's like, oh, you're going to do that? Okay, cool. We're going to do, you can sue gun manufacturers now, whatever the fuck. Like they came up with, like they use the same loophole, but against guns. That's the problem with that shit. That's why you just got to eliminate it all. That's why, again, aside from pro-life, pro-choice, all that shit, the fact that if the abortion thing goes through back down to states' rights, I'm just as a person looking at state rights, between states and feds, I like that, right? Because anything you take away from the federal government is better than it being there. So I prefer it being states' rights, minus the fact that I'm pro-life and all that shit. Like even if I wasn't, it's still all right. Well, state rights are better. And then the fact that you want to murder babies also is not cool.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you, man. Like, I love that Roe v. Wade's being struck down because you're going to see like New York and California become like these havens for abortions. And you'll just get to see the ideological self-segregation, as Michael Malice calls it, just start to form. And I think it's what's going to happen. That's going to, when the Republicans take back the House and the Senate, I think we're going to see blue states trying to secede, and the Republicans are going to be like, sure, go for it. Biden loses support. I mean, if the Democrats lose California, like if California decides we're going to secede and become our own thing, can the Democrats ever win an election again? Like a presidential election?
Yes, but it'd be way harder.
Yeah, there would have to be like a major shift everywhere else.
If New York still counts, that's a giant state.
Yeah, but like California has so much. It's kind of like
60 or 55,
kind of like
whatever
yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it's kind of like Texas. And that if the Republicans lose Texas, they will never be able to win a presidential election. If it turns blue, so like the Democrats would radically have to shift a ton of other states to blue states if California left.
Yeah, well, California, I mean, they have a good economy, but I don't know how good it would be if they left the country. That's the thing. Right, because I'm sure they benefit a lot from being part of the U.S.
Yeah,
I would assume. So here's the part where I'm out of my fucking league, talking out my fucking ass. I have no idea. I know they have a bigger GDP than like Russia does.
Yeah, Russia has a GDP the size of Texas.
Yeah, and California is like the biggest in the state. They're like fifth in the world or something crazy like that.
Yeah, like if California became its own country, it'd be the fifth largest GDP right away.
But
just as its own nation.
Now, okay, sure. But here's my question, who I would like to talk to somebody who knows what the fuck they're talking about. Is that only because it's California, USA? You know, does the USA matter? Because if they get all the benefits of being part of the USA, with all the government benefits of being part of the USA, because once they break off, they lose all the government funding. That's gone. Right? So now they have to do their own. And now I would assume a lot of people, especially Northern California, would be like, we're out, peace. And they're going to leave.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to, because remember, Northern and Southern California are 180s of each other. SoCal's all fucking lefties and Northern Cal's mostly middle to right leaning.
Yeah.
So they move, then production drops because I bet you they do a lot of the farming, I would assume.
Yeah. They do almost all of it.
Right. So, where do they get the food now from? Oh, they have to pay for it? Oh, wow. Where are you getting that money from? And now I feel like they start to go down. Will you keep putting out movies that no one wants to watch? More woke shit that no one wants to watch? All right, good luck.
Like California, like most of its GDP are like goods, then less goods and more services. Like, you know, things like movies. You'll see like tech come out of California. But right now you're seeing so much leave California. Like you saw Elon moved down to Austin. You saw Joe Rogan leave to Austin. You're seeing a ton of companies flock to Florida now as well. What you're seeing right now is California is about to go down. It's going to go down in the future. And like, I would assume that losing benefits from the United States federal government would only doom it further. Like it would just catch into flames right there.
And then they just come right back in. Like they're not gonna be like, nah, you can't come back. Like that's what I'm saying.
I think that a Republican House and Congress would full on say, yeah, we're not letting you back in. I think they would say, no, California, you took this option. Now eat your words.
Yeah, but then you get to because this is where you get to the dicey part of like, okay, well then they're technically a foreign country that you would require a passport. But if California collapses and people want to come back over, what are you gonna fucking stop them at the border with force? You know, yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm for it. I'm for that force. I'm for that government force. Stop woke LA people coming in.
What I'm for is for laying explosives all along the border of Southern California, and then we just rig it to explode, and so it casts off into the ocean.
Yeah, we'll blow the San Andreas Fault.
Yes.
We'll create the Rock movie.
Yes.
Get them the fuck out of here. Yeah, no, they suck. But New York sucks too. I was just in New York for the comedy the other week.
I was just talking to Top Lobster for my Sunday special this week, and he was talking about just how terrible New York is. And God, I never want to live in a city. Like, I never want to. I hate driving in cities. Like, when I have to drive down to the metro here in Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, I hate driving down there. It is the worst. So I couldn't
Bet you it's not as
stand
bad as
it.
New York.
I'm sure it's not as bad, but I could not live in a city for the life of me.
So I grew up in Staten Island, which had terrible because Staten Island's an island, obviously 7 miles by 14 miles wide. It's not big, but there's over 600,000 people there, so it's super overcrowded. So there's a lot of traffic. And then you grow up in New York City, and you grow up driving in Brooklyn, driving in Manhattan. So like I'm comfortable driving anywhere, but driving in Manhattan, I hate it. I don't enjoy it. I don't get like stressed, but I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like it does suck. I do. Yeah, it's a nightmare. No, cities are disgusting. Like also interesting where I was at Gas Digital Studios, and
Fancy.
I'm not gonna say where they are, but they're on the east side. And the east side, lower east side of Manhattan, traditionally is business driven. Like so many businesses thriving. Like it's a lot of people live there. And after they shut all the COVID stuff down, pretty much they shut it, from COVID. Like so many fucking buildings and stores are boarded up. Still, like everything. Like before, they were all operation, and they're not able to come back because, well, the prices didn't go down. Like it's not like landlords are like, oh yeah, we'll take less price living in Manhattan.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? Yeah, and when I went down to Minneapolis, like it was right in 2020. That was like when I was first getting like my learner's permit to drive. And I was going down there, sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm watching as like, oh, and Adam's gone. All right. I guess this is where I plug biblical anarchy, make sure Adam, he can't, nobody can hear him.
I was
right
giving
now.
you a solo layout. I wasn't gone.
Oh, all right.
I was giving you the
I wasn't
floor.
sure. Okay,
No,
I was confused there if you had just
Floor.
dropped the call or
Nope.
something.
Giving you the floor.
All right. Well, I was driving down to Minneapolis right when I was first getting like my learner's permit, so I could drive, and it was a garbage hole. Like by far, because Minneapolis is the center of like all the riot stuff because, George Floyd, shoving and kneeled on his neck down there. So the place is a garbage hole. I'm seeing homeless people just sleeping on benches, garbage built up everywhere, tents popped up wherever. These cities are garbage holes, and people need to leave the cities. If you care about your sanity, leave the cities. Heck, like we need to annex Canada at this point. I'm just kidding. I'm not actually advocating annexing Canada, but I would perfectly well, be okay with, people dispersing out into the wilderness here in the United States. Like full on. Like it is not healthy to cram that many people into the cities. It's not okay, man.
Yeah, it's they said you could fit the entire population in the world in Texas, and it would be like the density of Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
The entire world, 8 billion, 7 billion, whatever the fucking, it would be like a giant mega city, like a mega city, pretty much, but still wild.
Imagine the crime.
Oh, it'd be crazy. It'd be so crazy. Or it'd be like Judge Dredd, which would be cool.
I don't know, man.
You never seen Judge Dredd? You never seen
No, I've never seen it.
I shouldn't use that reference on you. I knew you were too young. I knew it. I knew it coming in my mouth. I was like, he's not gonna get this. But I was like, I have to go for it because Judge Dredd is fucking perfect. What the fuck is biting me? Like a fucking.
Come on, Jacob, stop biting Adam.
Oh, I have a fucking tick on me.
Oh, weird, dude. This
Holy
early in the
shit.
season?
Yep, I had a fucking tick on me. Holy shit. Look at that. You guys just watch me not get Lyme disease. Well, you little fucker. I pulled one off my dog earlier, too.
I mean, I haven't run into him yet. It's been too
God
cold.
Damn it. It's Pennsylvania. Yeah, wild.
The weather here is so bipolar, man. Like, it'll be sunny, and it'll be 70 degrees, and the next day it'll be 40 degrees, and there'll be snow. Jeez.
Good thing I felt that little fuck. Dude, I fucking hate ticks. God damn it. Dude, I get violently mad. I get violently mad because it's parasitic. It's like a parasitic fucking, creature, and I hate parasites, and it does remind me of the fucking left. You're right. Yeah, it's dead. So my wife's like, did you kill it? Yeah, I smashed it with my fucking vape pen.
Adam, that's nasty. You should just throw away the vape pen now.
What? No, I'm gonna make sure. I gotta burn it for sure. But no, I can't because it's live. But it's dead for sure. But I killed it on this paper. Yeah, it's for
This
sure.
is
It's
such a
dead.
weird
I know.
thing to be
I'm
happening.
sorry. It's very random. This tip was on me, dude. What the fuck? Like how? How does it? Oh, I hate them. Oh,
Yeah, so Adam, I gotta ask, like,
sorry.
what are your thoughts on like the Roe v. Wade stuff? Like, what do you think that overall it's gonna be a good thing? Like, what do you make of like people making the libertarian argument of, you know, we shouldn't we the it's just gonna be a war on abortion thing? Like, what do you think of that
I'll be
argument?
honest with you. So, I'm on the Bucks County XCOM in Pennsylvania, and I'm the board rep, and I'm also technically the social media chair, but like that's kind of my name only. I don't really have time for it, but a couple of people have access to the social medias that we have access to, and they're allowed to post shit. And one of the guys who's a great guy, but not Mises, posted something today, and it was like, "Oh, as libertarians will always protect your right to choose," and I was like, "Hold the fuck up." I was like, it was so vague. I was like, this is way more nuanced than that. Like, I'm like, how about state rights? How about this? How about that? How about that? How about that? So I was like, I'm deleting this post. I'm deleting it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like this is too big of an issue just to fucking throw out there without talking to any of us on the board.
Yeah.
And be like, yo, what do you guys think about posting this representing the entire county? Well, I don't know, man. I bet you a lot of us are pro-life, and especially the majority of Bucks County are Mises, which I'm pretty sure the majority, not everybody, but the majority are pro-life. So again, the whole Roe v. Wade thing, I'm glad it's going to states' rights. I would prefer it to go to states' rights. Let them figure it out, and then if you want to get it, then go to a state that fucking offers it. I guess. I mean, what am I going to say? Because like, in my opinion, it should be only used for like 2 reasons, like and that's it. Otherwise, it's like, I mean, but this is also I don't like this. I don't like this either. If you looking around the Twitter, it's like men shouldn't have a say. Okay, well, my wife, who's a woman, is pro-life, so she doesn't have a say.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's crazy. They're pretending like women aren't pro-life.
Yeah,
it's fucking nuts. It's just lies. It's lies and propaganda. It's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
I mean, what's your take?
So, like, I'm a very pro-life individual. So much so that, like, I may be like an ANCAP, but I'll tolerate the state doing something about abortion. Because like my entire logic, like I spelled this out on Twitter just a little while ago, and like this guy Liberty Zoomer, for some reason, I just replied to it as tweet. And it's like, I'm an anarchist, but so long as the state has the monopoly on violence and law, I would like them to exercise it in a way that protects people, especially innocent babies. Like I'm not okay. I don't care how many arguments of like war on abortion. I don't think they're like. Do you think there's a Adam? Do you think there's a like in the way libertarians use it? Do you think there's a war on murder? Or a war on theft?
No.
Like you could argue the state's not very good at it, but you know what? If the state's going to be there anyways, why aren't they protecting like these innocent children? I think that there will be a decrease in abortions as a result of it becoming illegal in some states. And I am perfectly okay with that. I am perfectly okay with that because you know what? I care more about like an individual baby's life than I do about like, but like unintended consequences. You know what? That child didn't ask to be murdered. Sorry. Like right now, like the abortion issue and the borders were the 2 things holding me back from joining the LP or like becoming like a fan of the LP for the longest time before I knew about like the woke stuff in the LP.
Yeah. The borders thing. People are like, what'd you take? I go, I don't fucking know. I really
just don't care.
Like, I don't care. I mean, like, I don't.
I
really
couldn't think
care.
of an issue I care about less. Frankly.
I don't care. I care way more about the power of the state over the COVID shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do about fucking the border or anything else, really. Or like, I mean, I care more about
like,
the drug stuff
Texas's
too. But
problem.
Like,
my thought is let it be Texas' problem.
Oh, let them deal with it.
Yeah, let Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, let California, let them all deal with it. I would be perfectly fine with like I'm not gonna. People are gonna get upset at me, but I'd be perfectly fine with like states imposing as strict or as loose as borders or as what they want around their own states.
Well, it comes down to
Perfectly
like
fine.
the private property thing, and then
Yeah,
states' rights,
I know.
which is states' property. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Then it gets involved, and I'm not an expert. I don't want to. I don't know. Like, I don't know how it fucking goes.
I agree with Caleb Brown when he says that so long as the state has a monopoly on certain land or certain effects, I would like for it to be done as effectively as possible to achieve the best like moral means. Like if you're gonna have borders, because like without borders, what is a state anyways? Like a
Yeah,
state does not exist without borders.
right. Physically,
So
I mean,
if
just by the literal
they're
term.
going to
Like,
manage the borders, I would like for them to do so effectively. I
right.
don't think that's a controversial statement. But I don't think that so long as the state exists, they're always going to have control of the borders. So, like, open border people, I'm sorry, unless you're like advocating right now to press the button to get rid of the government right now, the borders are going to exist. And the government's going to have the right to choose who can and cannot come through the borders.
Yeah, and I always used to, when I was younger, I used to be not for like IP, but I
Mhm.
didn't understand the like the hate against it until I got
Mhm.
older, and then I was like, oh yeah, it all makes sense. It is dumb, you know. So like, but things like that, like how far high in that is the list of importance is the libertarians?
I'm honestly, it's not my niche issue. I care about like the government going overseas and murdering
Yeah, that's what
people,
I'm
like
saying.
and
I care
doing
more
mass
about that
murder. That's what
stuff
I
than I
care
care.
about.
Yeah, I agree. I care more
I'll
about that
care more
stuff.
about the Federal Reserve
Yeah,
destroying the standard of living, destroying the idea of the American dream, and destroying economies with the press of a button. I'll care more about that and the mass murder campaigns the government performs, more than I care about whether or not Juan comes back and forth across the border. You
yeah,
know, if
I
Juan
agree.
does a crime, then Juan should be charged, right? Like if he does like an actual violent crime,
Right.
sure. And like, but like the Chinese fentanyl or whatever, I don't know. Like, make it so that people can produce this sort of stuff safely. I guess end the drug war. End the drug war, end the stupid CIA interventions abroad. Reduce the things that make all these people engage in mass migration. I don't know.
This is like always the part of the conversations where no matter who we talking to or whose idea it is, it all comes down to like, yeah, but it's all corrupt, right? So it doesn't really matter. Like we could talk about this all day, but until those corrupt people stop being corrupt, it's never gonna stop.
Yeah,
And how's that stop? I don't know. They have to die, or like they have to stop being corrupt. Like, but it's
you have
not.
to form communist man.
Yeah, we gotta be communist. I think is the
No,
answer.
no,
No.
but like there's a whole thing to that where the communists are like only communists can think a certain way, and the reason everyone else just doesn't get it is because we need to mold them into communist man. Like that's
Right.
the whole shtick, right?
Right.
Like they got to turn everyone into and make everyone into an anti-racist, that sort of thing. Like it's all Marxism.
Well, it's yeah. Well, cultural Marxism is what CRT is and all that shit anyway. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's this. I'm looking down at you. I'm better. I know better than you type shtick they have, right? Where it's like I'm
Mhm.
smarter. You just don't get it because you're not smart as me.
I'm just not successful because everyone else is the problem. That's essentially what like Marxism
Well,
is.
that's why Marx was such a fucking bitch, and everyone was like, Marx. I'm like, if you like, the dude lived like with his mom
No, he lived with Engels, who was
or
living
whatever
off
the
of
fuck.
he was living with Engels, who was like his co-author on a lot of stuff, who was getting rich off of like inheritance that
Yeah,
he had
right,
picked up.
right.
Like
Of course.
Engels was exactly, like the bourgeoisie that Marx was writing about.
Dude,
And Engels was like, he was the spoiled rich kid who thinks that he's gonna save the world and fix everything.
yeah, he's like a modern day white liberal kid.
Yeah.
Like with the rich parents. That's
Yeah.
all he right. And yeah. And then like if you ever read like this, I mean, excerpts from what Marx wrote, he sounds like just a perpetuant baby.
hmm
He's like, and I think I shouldn't have to work for that. Like he just says shit like that. I'm like, dude, you are a fucking man child. Like I don't know how anybody could read what that guy wrote and go, this is a code to live by. Like it's wild to me. He's fucking trash.
I think the whole bit, like the reason people hop onto it is because they're unhappy with their lives and they don't want to accept the blame that they should take, that it's their fault that their lives are terrible. So what they do is they decide, well, it's the system that's the problem. We need to destroy the system and make a system where I can be in charge, right? that I am the supreme leader. Lenin was not popular in Russia, and so he decides I'm going to lead a bloody revolution because people aren't listening to me, and I'm going to promise them these things and lead a bloody revolution so I can be on the top because I was not successful in Russia. You know, same thing. They just want to put themselves on the top of this little fake hierarchy.
I
They
say
don't
this
hate
all,
the hierarchy. They just want to be at the top of it.
I say this all the time. It's like it's funny because again, I'm in comedy, which is a lot of left leaning people,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be telling me their views on politics and I'm just like, yeah. You live at home with your mom and you're 33, and I don't. Why the fuck would I listen to you? It's
Yeah.
it's like a lot of this advice. I'm like, do you know what your living conditions are? You live in squalor, and you're talking to me how it should be. I'm like, I have a house. Like, I'm not, it's not a brag, but it's like, why the fuck would I listen to you? You don't think who's probably right here with the economics part, me or you, guy?
Yeah.
Probably me.
Like the entire flaw, like Lenin, he came along and like Leninism is, you know, that you need a disruptor to force the masses into a violent revolution. Because like Marx's whole thing was that there's like this natural cycle that would lead to communism where the workers themselves would just rise up. And you know what? That didn't happen because you know what? Capitalism's just too good at making their lives better. So they didn't revolt against capitalism like Marx wanted. So Lenin comes in, he's like, I need to be the guy to lead this revolution. And you know, that's why the Bolsheviks happened, because the Bolsheviks, they just decided, well, if the people aren't going to revolt, if they don't have a problem with the system, well, we'll have a problem with the system, and so we'll push them to revolt against the Tsar.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we need. We need people which I guess is like Elon. He is the guy who's like, did you see? He just want to like get a whole rant against like CNN and like all the mainstream media there on Twitter. He was like, oh, speaking of, he
dropped the Ghislaine. He dropped Ghislaine Maxwell's name. Like that is what caught my attention.
Yeah. That's why. I mean, yeah, I don't think he's perfect. I think he shit on Bitcoin on purpose.
He's a democratic socialist. Like he said it himself.
But like the fact that you have this guy who's so obviously, at least I hope so, for fairness and free speech, that he's like, you guys are so fucking evil. He's like, I gotta do something about this. This is crazy. Like I gotta fucking step in and take charge. I don't know, man.
I think it's a short-term fix, man. I don't have too much reliance that it's gonna last like as forever. I think until we get a decentralized option, that it's gonna be a momentary, good centralized alternative for now. It's gonna last a while, at least as long as he holds the company. Which, you know what, I don't see that happening very long because the recession's coming, and
for sure
Tesla was built on the bubble. It's gonna collapse.
I was telling my wife, I sent her a text. I was like, hey, recession's coming, but like we're fine because we have Bitcoin. Don't worry about it. I was like, we're totally good. But I was like, everybody else can be fucked.
Yeah. Listen to Peter Schiff and invest in things that people need to buy in a recession. Not what they want to buy, but what they need to buy. That's his whole thing.
Well, I mean, going back to fucking economics one lesson, right? It was like the first fucking chapter. The first chapter is right. Like need doesn't equal demand. Like the need after a war doesn't mean people want it. They just need it. Like they need building material because everything got bombed. They don't necessarily want building material. So you invest only for that certain time and then leave. Like maybe, buying long-term construction business after a war isn't the best idea. Only it's a short-term, business possibly. So this basic economics 101. It's in and out.
I love talking economics, man. Like I'll be completely honest. Like that's my shtick. Like if it's not foreign policy, it's economics. I love talking about it.
I know more than the average person because I read the basic books that we've all read, but I don't consider myself any fucking expert on anything. Or I go, okay, yeah, I get the basic shit, and I get why that's bad, and I get why you shouldn't do this, and inflation, and yeah, all that shit's bad.
Yeah.
But then you talk to the regular person, and they're like, well, why? I don't understand. And you're like, you understand why? Like any of it? I'm like, oh, that's why they could just keep doing this because like no one understands.
Yeah.
If you ask them like, 40% of all of our wealth ever has been printed in the last 3 years. What the fuck that stat is, right? Or something crazy like that.
Yeah, 40% of the money in circulation right now of like the US dollar has been printed in the past 24 months. Probably more. That percentage was like in the past 18 months, like I don't know, 6 months ago. So it's
That's
probably a larger percent.
so bad, dude. Yeah, so
Like,
recession's coming for
and
sure.
and
Well,
the
the
recession,
housing the housing thing's gonna come down
oh
again
yeah,
too.
like the housing market's already collapsing. Like as soon as they hiked it up to 25 basis points, you saw requests for mortgage drop by 40% already because
My
people can't afford those interest loans, right?
w-
And so right now they just hiked it 50 basis points again, so it's like to 75 0.75, and the housing market's going to collapse. Like I guarantee you it's going to collapse very soon. If it's not now, it's going to be like the next little bit of a rate hike, and you're going to see the economy follow suit, man. And it's not going to be pretty because during the COVID pandemic, they slashed rates to zero, but they had 2% of comfort room, to slash rates to soften the blow. For 2008, they had like, I think 5% that they could slash. They have 0.75% that they can slash. The
mm,
recession's going to hit, and it's going to hit hard, and it's going to be the worst recession since probably the Great Depression.
yeah, my parents just moved from well, they just closed on the house, but they're moving from Staten Island to Jersey.
Mhm.
And they said that every time they would go to like put money down in a house, people were coming in with cash like tens of grands over the top just to buy the house out
Mhm.
from out from people. And they're like, yeah, we couldn't really do that, so we finally found a house that we could just get. But like that's how. And then they're saying now it's already hard to sell again. It
Yeah.
was so easy to sell, now it's already hard to sell again,
Yeah.
which is not good.
Yeah, the
But again,
housing market's it's just artificial demand off of easy loans. No, ordinarily people wouldn't be able to afford and buy and build all these houses.
actually, before I even met my wife, she bought this house we're in right now
Mhm.
back in '08 because she was a teacher. And she, like, it was like her first year on the job. And the guy selling this house, like, how to move with his wife up north in Pennsylvania or west. That's not important. But I remember like she told me the story of like the real estate agents and the lawyers took a picture of the APR percentage because it was like, oh, we'll never be this low again. Like you'll never see it this low again because of like we're in a recession and this house is so fucking cheap. And like
Mhm.
now if we sold the house, it'd probably be like double easily from what you bought it for. That's how fucking bad it was in '08. So I can only imagine how bad it's going to be in 2024 or 2023, wherever the fuck it blows. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's
I
going
don't
to be
know.
rough.
It's
It's going
gonna
to
be
be
it's gonna be rough, dude. And like people, if they're going to be making like investments, they're gonna have to decide whether or not are you gonna take in a bunch of debt and hope for hyperinflation, or are you going to take in a bunch of debt and be screwed over by high interest rates? Like if you're gonna play that game, you gotta play it safe. That's why you hedge against inflation right now, man.
for sure.
It's gonna hit hard. And like it's during this, like the dollar's not gonna survive the next recession.
I
And then
think you're right.
that's when like the Fed will try to do like Fed coin or whatever.
Oh yeah, their
They'll try to
crypto
implement,
version.
yeah,
Yeah,
the central bank digital currency. They'll try
right,
to implement that sort of thing.
right. And
I don't know.
paperless, they're going to try to get rid of paper, fiat, and all that shit for sure.
Yeah,
Physical currency for sure.
it'll be like the equivalent of FDR going around and confiscating all the gold just before World War II.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, with
yeah.
all your
I
fiat.
mean, you might see bread lines again.
Yeah,
That'd be fucking
that's what like
crazy.
I'm alluding back to this, and the episode isn't out. It's coming out this Sunday, but with Top Lobster, we talked about like self-sufficiency and just how important it is to be somewhat self-sufficient and grow your own food, people. The food you buy in the store is terrible for you. It is overly processed, and we're going to be seeing bread lines soon. We're going to be seeing an economic collapse. That is why it is more important than ever to garden, to raise your own food. Otherwise, you're going to see starvation in the streets, and
And
I don't want to
that's
see
when
that,
real
people.
violence will happen. Like
Yeah,
people, like fuck.
like get out of the
I
cities and
thought
start your own
the
stuff.
COVID tyranny would cause violence, and it really didn't. Once people can't feed their kids, that's when you're gonna start seeing politicians getting hung. That's probably
Yeah,
when it's gonna be. So good luck. I don't know.
yeah,
good,
man.
luck. Good luck out
Get
there.
out, and it's gonna be the worst in the cities because those people,
Of
they can't
course.
grow a thing. Like, do you remember when Antifa took over Chaz and they tried to grow a little garden there, and it was just
Yes.
it was garbage.
And then didn't people just steal the crops too, which is also
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
Hilarious.
like in their
So funny.
little communist commune, whatever.
No, what
Yeah.
this is again a luxury that I have and a lot of people who don't live in cities have, but we have a fucking farmer's market like
Yeah.
10 minutes from us
Oh
that
man, like
that the farm owns the market and they sell all their shit from their farm. It's fucking
mhm,
great and it's so cheap. We
yeah.
get so much stuff for like $20. It's nuts. Like try doing that at like a superstore or something like that. It's $60
Yeah. Like
easily.
I don't know, like I'm a little bit like I like Bitcoin and I like the idea of Bitcoin, but I almost feel like there's not been enough adoption of it widely by the population to make it worth it because the vast majority of people won't be taking Bitcoin, right? Like in the coming collapse. I don't even know if like they'll take gold. Like you gotta we're gonna go back to like a barter system
Barter?
until the central bank digital currencies come in. Or
Hmm.
unless a bunch of people learn right away that they gotta get into Bitcoin.
I saw we
Do you
can end
think
on
the
this.
farmers are gonna be taking Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think smart ones will
Maybe
for
smart
sure.
ones will,
Yeah,
but do you think the
but yeah,
vast majority will?
I think it's easy. I think once they see the smart ones doing it, because it's easy to adopt. It's just an app and a bank. Set up a bank and an app. It's not hard to do. Yeah, I think they will for
I
sure.
don't know. I don't know. Like they might. I mean, I understand they might just do Coinbase right away or something like that. But like Coinbase is not a good idea. Don't go into a centralized wallet.
I know I have
Get a
Coinbase.
cold wallet.
I know I gotta do that.
Yeah.
I do.
Ask Shane Hazel.
Yeah, I could get Shane on this podcast. Shane's bailed on me like twice.
Shane's great.
I know.
I've had him on the show. Ha,
I know.
Adam.
Yeah, and Dave's been on Jacob's podcast and not mine.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He betrayed me as a fellow comic. He went on that Nerds podcast and not mine.
Mhm.
What was I gonna say? We could end on. What was I gonna say? We could end on. Fuck my brain, dude. It's the worst.
I
Fed
agree.
stuff, farming, currency. Fuck. I can't remember what I was gonna end on. What you know? What? Do your plugs if I can remember. I can remember. If not, it's been fun. Young Bull, David Brady. Where can we find you in your great podcast?
Oh man, now I kind of want like the Legion of Skanks plug in music, you know, the little background music they got. I wish you had that. That would
Dude,
be great.
again, if StreamYard is we have it on Cult of Us. We have plug music. We have our own plug music,
Mhm.
but StreamYard won't let you, so I can do this. Like,
Yeah, see?
I know, but it's their generic one, and it's like,
You can upload your own audio bites.
no, but you can't play it while we're on screen.
I don't oh, man, I'm pretty sure there's an audio thing. I know Josh Smith has
Yeah,
an audio.
but I don't think you could play it while we're on. Like, it's like a thing. I don't think so. Anyway, not important. We can talk about it off air. What's your plugs?
Okay, if you really I care like you say, Adam, I only really care about Twitter, Real David B. Jr. You can find me there on Twitter. That's what I care about. Follow me there. I'm like almost at 1,600 followers already, which is hey, I think is pretty good.
Pretty good.
My show is both on YouTube and Odyssey, The Road to Providence. I've got some great stuff coming up. Like I said, this Sunday, Top Lobster. On Friday, at the time that we're discussing right now, I'm going to be doing the weekly wrap, you know, where we talk about the news and everything with Rothbardian, you know, Masha, and Justin O'Donnell. Justin was just in the chat as well.
Comedy show talker, Masha. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that this Friday. Next week I should be either having Alex Stein on the Sunday special or Nick Rekieta. I gotta get Alex Stein to reply to me. He said he was gonna go on the show on the 8th, so I gotta pester him a bit or get someone
He's
else
supposed to come on this show too.
Oh.
That's right. I gotta follow through with that.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I gotta reach out to Alex. So it's gonna be Alex Stein or Nick Rekieta for the next Sunday special, which should be fun. Either way. Yeah, that's what I've got going on.
Nice. James, good comment. She's a white woman. Of course, she's a comedy show talker. Very true. They
Yeah.
are the worst. They are the
Wait,
worst.
quickly, this is now in a James Gentleman Appreciation podcast because James is wonderful. God bless that man.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's been like one of the most motivating and helpful people I've gotten to know. Like I'm in Minnesota with James, so it's been pretty great. I got to hang out with him and chat with him. He's also like one of the most insightful people that I've gotten to hear. Like every interview that he goes on that I'm following as far as the podcast goes, I got to listen to it right away because God, he's good. I enjoy listening to James talk.
He's great. Then I have him on my show. He talks about Ravens having souls for like 45 minutes.
Oh yeah.
David, thank you for coming on. Guys, go follow this kid. He's fucking smart. And you guys know me at Adam Nutter. Come see me do comedy. Go listen to Cult of Us. YouTube.com/Cult of Us. YouTube.com/Adam Nutter for this show. I just posted a comedy clip on Yeah, on the channel. Yeah, so go watch that. All right, guys. Don't get off. I got to talk to you off air real quick.
All right.
And then everybody else, it's been fun. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Find Adam on social media, Twitter and IG at Adam Nutter, or Facebook and TikTok at Adam Nutter Comedy. And for podcasts and merch, check out www.droptent.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.